Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck. I teach parenting, communication, family relationship building all over the world through the lens of self-government. And in this video, we're going to be talking about teaching children to manage emotions. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a personal story from my life, and then we're going to talk about things you can do step by step to help your children learn emotional management. I'm the mother of 4, previous foster parent of many troubled teens. So for years, we took youth into our home, all between the ages of 12 and 18. And the majority of these youth that came to my home had problems regulating their emotions. In fact, let's be real, most children go through phases where they don't know how to regulate or manage their own emotions. So this is something that parents teach their children. There's a lot of emphasis today on learning how to manage emotions, and people, quite frankly, are missing the mark. So I had one foster daughter that came to my home who really had anger control issues. That's what was written on her file. ADHD, OCD, ODD, anger control issues, and dishonesty problems. This was the profile of the person that was going to come and live with me. But no problem, we'd done it many times before. So this particular girl came to our home and she immediately started fighting about everything. If we told her no to something, she would break down about it, and we would have to spend significant amounts of time helping her learn how to accept no answers, help her learn how to do tasks that she didn't want to do before, and how to analyze what was going on the inside so that she wouldn't feel entitled, but instead would feel empowered. There is a difference. So many times when people are trying to address emotions, they placate to the emotion, and they end up leaving the child feeling entitled instead of empowered that they can overcome whatever it is and not have that problem in the future. Older generations of parents used to train their children to be emotionally strong. Now, it is true that there were some things that weren't discussed that probably should have been back in those days, but the one thing they did do is help their children learn to just move on. Now, obviously, we shouldn't be stuffing any emotions. This is not healthy. Emotions need to be talked about. But the way that we talk about them and process them is really important. Just laying them all out on the table could actually hurt somebody more than help. And this I learned while I was working with this foster daughter. So as she would tell me things, I instantly became concerned. I wanted to know more. I wanted her to know that I was a safe person to tell all this to. She started dumping and dumping thing after thing. Then there was this point where I realized, I think that she's now using all of this emotional stuff to manipulate herself and me. She's seeking attention with this instead of conquering it and finding solutions to her problem, which is where I need to head her. She is now feeling entitled. She's making excuses like, well, yeah, but they won't, or that triggered me because of whatever. And so she doesn't think that she can handle her problems. I realized I had gone too far. I had affirmed her in every emotion instead of just validated that that emotion was a normal emotion somebody could have. I went too far and I had to fix it. So what did I do to help her? Let's talk about that. Before I share with you what I did to help this darling foster daughter become a totally different version of herself, at least emotionally, and learn how to manage her emotions, subscribe to this channel. There are so many videos here that are relevant for current parenting problems, things that are the hard moments of your day right now. You are not going to want to miss those. And if you subscribe, you will make sure to get those in your notifications. Also, the notification bell won't hurt either. The first thing I did was teach this daughter how her emotions and feelings worked with each other. It is so important to understand this. In fact, there has been so much brain research that has happened, people trying to figure out how to help people emotionally. And after lots of brain research, experts have actually come to the conclusion that when a person chooses to show emotion, there actually was a 3-step process that occurred. Daniel Goleman, the author of Emotional Intelligence, says that the very first thing that happens is a person feels something. We get a feeling. Maybe something happens to us, somebody says something, and it makes a feeling trigger within us. That's just being human. That can happen to anybody, and we have to understand that people feel things at certain times. In fact, if we think of the movie industry, the music industry, the literary society, what are they trying to do? Get those feelings worked up, right? Get them going one way or another. Those feelings can easily be manipulated. So she needed to know that. You could manipulate your feelings, I told her. Somebody else can manipulate your feelings. People can start controlling you if they can touch your feelings. So, let's remember that. Feelings could come from anywhere, and that doesn't necessarily mean that something is true just because I have a feeling. Now, obviously, some feelings, especially those gut feelings that people always talk about, do often signal when something resonates or rings true to them. That doesn't mean every feeling is true. We've got to be very careful about that. So I explained to her, when you feel something, and after that, Daniel Goleman says, you have this moment where you can think. It's a brief second, maybe a fraction of a second, where you get the opportunity to have a thought about that feeling. What will that thought be? Because after that split second thought, you will choose an emotional reaction. Is it going to be productive, or is it going to be non-productive? You get to choose based on the thought, I told her. This was mind-blowing for her. She had no idea that she got to make that type of a choice in her emotions. She thought emotions were tied to feelings. Well, they are, but in the middle, that tie is called a thought. And you could end up producing a different emotion at a different time, depending upon what you do with your thought. So after I told her about how her brain actually worked with creating emotions, she was enlightened. And I said, how about we just plan for success? How about we just make a plan for how to deal with some of those feelings that lead to some of those thoughts that you know might be pointing you toward instances that you don't want to have. I remember one time she got in a fight with another girl at school. Who was the bully first? I'm not sure, because she was pretty aggressive. But I do know that she maintained this aggressive feeling toward this girl before the fight even occurred. So when I got called to the school and she was out of control, and she says, she hit me and da-da-da-da. And I knew in my mind, in her mind, she already had decided that that girl was a problem, that she didn't like her, that that girl was out to get her. So what did she do? Her thought process was already fight mentality. So the girl just had to do one thing, and my girl was already ready to just attack. So this conversation happened in a way that was really personal to her. And this is an important thing. Make sure you do have these open talk times where you discuss real stuff with your children. Don't just react to their behaviors. Discuss their behavior at a time with them when they didn't just do the behavior. Plan for success when they didn't just find themselves in that moment where they misbehaved. This is powerful. Another powerful thing I taught my foster daughter was the skills she needed for success. I taught her that she could disagree appropriately with someone, and that when they came after her with a certain feeling and that feeling hit her, that she could say, wait a minute, they want me to understand something. So don't fight, understand. Seek to understand was the language that I told her that she needed to say in her mind, and that seek to understand would bring her to using the skill disagreeing appropriately. So I taught all of my foster children 4 basic skills, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. That disagree appropriately skill was so powerful for her. She could express how she felt, but also show she understood another person and detach from all the emotion. And if things didn't go her way or the other person still didn't seem to care, she could also drop the subject at the end, because this skill has 7 steps to it, and that last step is to drop the subject. After we taught her the 4 basic skills and taught her how I would correct her if she did not use the 4 basic skills so that she would be held accountable, then we decided to have regular follow-up talk times so that we could see how it was going, just with this one issue. And then after she did really well at handling this one issue, we would take on another issue and work her through that in a similar way. So every single week we had mentor meetings that were private meetings just with her. We also daily had little daily catch-ups, especially after school, which was a place where she often had problems with peers. We did find out that there were a lot of people who were being mean to her, and she was being reactive a lot of the time. But once she took on those skills, she knew how to communicate. She had a plan for herself and understood her brain better. Even though she had ADHD and sometimes she would slip back into her old habits, she started making consistent progress, and soon she was getting along with some of those people that were being mean to her, or just learning how to not have an issue at all, how to turn them off and not allow them to bully her anymore without having to go to a fight to do it. There are so many more things that I could teach you related to self-government, and I would like to do that. In fact, I'd like to give you a training for free. I have a Calm Parenting Toolkit that's on my website. There is a link below this video that says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. If you click on that link right now, that will take you to the Calm Parenting Toolkit that you can have for free. So have the free Calm Parenting Toolkit, start managing your own emotions, and those principles in there will also teach you how to help your children manage their emotions as well. We'll see you on the Calm Parenting Toolkit.